What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsYJr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to come in, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, because we have a special guest in today. We have Mr. Tayvion Beasley, a recent signee to the Jackson State 2022 recruiting class. Tayvion, how's it going, man?
Good and you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. You got a lot of people excited going to Jackson State out of California. And we'll get to that. We're going to talk all about your commitment to Jackson State, why you chose the Tigers, and things like that. But before we get into that, we're just going to ask you some questions, get to know you better, let the fan base get to know you better. And so, what I want to first ask you is, when did you get into football? Who kind of introduced you to the game, and when did you start playing?
I started playing at 6 years old. I grew up watching my brother play, but I couldn't play until I was 6. So I played soccer at like the age of 4 and 5. And then when I hit 6 years old, that's when I started playing.
So did you start off playing defensive back? What were you like early childhood playing football, and how was that?
I started off playing running back and linebacker.
Okay.
And my dad kept me at linebacker so I could like be everywhere and I could grow up like and be able to tackle and all that. I didn't play DB till like the 9th grade. The 9th grade was my first year playing corner, and I still played running back. And then when I got to 10th grade, I just played straight corner.
Okay, man. Well, when did you realize, like, man, I'm pretty good at this football thing? When did you realize, like, hey, I'm better than most people out here?
When the parents and the refs was complaining about me.
When did that happen? Was that in childhood? When did that start happening? And how did that go?
It was like all my whole youth. Like they'll think I'm like too old or I'm not their age. They'll say they need to check my birth certificate. And one game the ref had told my coach I couldn't get the ball no more.
Wow. Even out in Cali, you got a lot of ballers in Cali. Was you killing them like that, man?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So you're from California, Southern California. What team, was there any NFL teams or college teams that you grew up rooting for, and what was the reasoning behind that?
When I was little, I used to like the Raiders because my dad used to like the Raiders. So I just grew up.
That's a good team, man. That's my team. That's a good keep going.
I grew up just like Raiders dad, Raiders dad. So I had liked the Raiders. Then I had stopped liking them like during middle school. And then college, I grew up liking USC.
Okay. Well, also, I want to ask you about playing at St. John Bosco. Were you there all 4 years? Kind of what went into, there's a lot of schools out in California. What made you choose to go to Bosco?
Again, my brother went to Bosco, so I grew up going to his game. I've been at Bosco since I was 10. I was on the sideline. I was the water boy, so I already knew what I was getting myself into before I got there. So
I got you.
With the coaches and had a feeling like where I would be. That's how I really chose it. And then football wise, it was, as you know, like we're pretty good. So
yeah, man. I actually live in Louisville, and so your quarterback Pierce is like going crazy. He's going crazy for U of L. Man, he's getting all these dudes from Bosco to commit to U of L. I'm like, I'm from Cali or wherever. I'm like, dude, what? Like this dude's wild. But no, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So when you're at Bosco, it's a lot, like you said. You guys are really good. It's tough competition. What was that like going to a premier powerhouse school like that and playing against some of the best players in the country, playing with them and against them?
My first year as a freshman, you remember Chris Steele and Jim McDuffie?
Mm-hmm.
They was both All-American corners, so I would like watch them, try to be like them, learn, pick up what they learn. And then as a sophomore, I actually started mid-season. I started as a sophomore. I had to beat out James Smith from UW and Josh Alford. And then from there on, it just went up.
So you're at Bosco. You're starting as a sophomore. You're picking up some of these offers. Just what was that recruitment process like in the beginning?
In the beginning, it was just fun. Like I just enjoyed it. I didn't really like get big head or nothing, let anything get too big for me. I just really enjoyed it and just kept playing ball.
And so you talked about your favorite team for a while was the Raiders. Who's some of your favorite players growing up watching, or even now in the NFL?
Reggie Bush, Tyrann Mathieu, the one I went to LSU, and now it's Jalen Ramsey.
Awesome, man, awesome. So who was some of the best players you in that Southern California area? Who was some of the best guys that you ever went against? What made them tough, and what was that like?
I feel like the best person that made me better was Chris Hudson up at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being him because he was quick, fast, could catch, could jump. Like, he could do it all. So me, at that time, I was a sophomore. So, like, me being a sophomore, guarding one of the best receivers in our class, well, in his class, it just only made me better.
Now, when you're doing this, you're at Bosco, you guys are winning a bunch of games, you guys are doing a lot, you're sending all these dudes to different colleges and stuff. Just what's that like? What's it like going to a school like that against all these great players, or with all these great players, and playing some of the top teams in the country and being ranked? I mean, you guys being ranked number one all the time. What's that like?
It feels good. Like when we out in public, like, they think Bosco is like, oh, rah. Like, it's a lot of people like about a lot of Bosco supporters, but that's besides the fact. Like, going to a school like the top people, it makes you better, like, on a football, but mainly as a character, and then we build like that brotherhood. So we also talk about like colleges and stuff, like, more. It makes us more mature, I would say.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So who was Bosco's, like, who were you guys rival, or who was like your toughest competition out there in Southern
Modern day.
California? Okay. Yeah, so Modern Day, that's where like Matt Barkley and those guys went. They went to Modern Day, and Bryce Young. Bryce Young went to Modern Day.
I played it.
What was that like against him?
He he threw 2 touchdowns on me, but I was good on that. But it was pretty good playing against him. I knew who I was going against when I first stepped in the game. He know where to put the ball where defenders can't get it, and his running ability is just ridiculous. Like, we literally had to like plan around him running all over us, which we did, and ended up winning the national championship. So,
hey, it worked. I mean, it's Bryce Young. He the Heisman Trophy winner, man. So it's not like he's some scrub. Like, okay, you had a bad game. At least it was against him, man. Like, it's all right. So is that like Modern Day versus Bosco? That's a big rivalry up in Southern California. What, you guys talk a lot of trash? Like, how does that work?
My junior year, we was first talking on social media, and in the game, you talk trash from play 1 to play 0, literally.
Wow.
Like, every play, and no matter if you're getting the ball, blocking, just running, you gotta talk. Like, got to.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So I know a lot of people are in here, man. You're going to Jackson State. Well, before we get to you choosing Jackson State, just tell me about, I know during your recruitment, I mean, you had some big time offers. Just talk to me about some of that and how Jackson State kind of got involved in there.
When I had started my first one was BYU, and then literally the day after, I had got Oregon, and then I went to a 7-on-7 tournament, got USC, and then the people, like my family and stuff, my cousins, they was telling me like, it's gonna come, just keep working, be patient, and then that's just all I kept doing. It just kept coming, and I enjoyed it. It was a God blessing.
Awesome. So when did Jackson State kind of get involved?
It got involved like some weeks after our season ended. And then from there, me and Coach Mathis, the corner coach, gained a relationship and just kept talking up to the day before signing day.
Wow. So did you know, I mean, obviously Coach Prime, Deion Sanders got Jackson State there on a national platform now. It's really well known across the country, even all the way out there in Cali. But did you know much about Jackson State before getting in contact with Coach Mathis?
Yes.
So what was that like, getting that call from JSU? Like you said, leading all the way up to before signing day. I hear they offered you that day. Like, what was going on there?
When they had first texted me, I was really surprised. Like, when Coach Mathis had texted me, then he brought up Travis Hunter. Then I clicked. I'm like, oh, this is the corner coach from Jackson State. And then I'm like, I gotta stay in touch with him. I even told my brother. He was like, yeah, you gotta stay in touch with him. And then the day before, I got offered the day before signing day, like right before. And then before that, I was on the phone with Deion and we was talking. And then that night they had called me and told me.
So before, like they didn't offer you to the day before signing day. Did you, like, were you nervous if you were going to get an offer? If they didn't offer, kind of what was going on through your head when all that was happening?
Yeah, I was nervous. It was like I had a feeling they was going to offer me, but like at the same time, like, I don't know. And then he had called me at night. So I'm like, it got to be something good when he called me. And then we was talking, and then at first I guess Deion don't think they think Cali boys, like, They try to compare us and Texas ball. So then I was talking to Coach Mathis, and then he was telling me like Deion really likes you and stuff, things like that. And then that's when they had told me like we want to offer you.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So before that, did you have like a top 3, a top 5, like that you were considering? I mean, we're talking about the day before signing day. Like, did you kind of have some backup plans just in case JSU didn't come through, or was you
Yes,
dead set on?
Louisville was one of them.
Okay.
They had came to the school like a week before.
Mm-hmm.
There was one of them, and then USC was in the mix too. But all those commits, I kind of like backed off of that. So, and then Oregon had just got Jaleel Florence.
Mm-hmm.
So and then JSU stepped in. That's when I committed there.
So being out in California, man, like you guys don't have any HBCUs out in California. Just what about like HBCUs? Did you know anything about HBCUs before Coach Prime at Jackson State, or what have you kind of learned about them since you being offered and now you're headed there?
Actually, before I heard of Jackson State and what Deion was doing, I didn't really know nothing about HBCU. But then
I'm not surprised by that, man.
Yeah, and then when I had heard of them, I started like looking it up and things like that, and see like, and then I actually started texting their players, Herman and John's up there. I started texting them and asking them how it was, the academic wise, like outside of football, and then they were just telling me all good things, and I could learn more about my roots and where I come from also.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that is awesome. So being out in Southern California, man, I'm seeing a lot more players from your area that are now choosing to go to HBCUs, whether it's Grambling, Grambling's got a ton of California guys on their team coming in, and Jackson State. Just, is that pretty cool to watch guys, travel cross country to go play at some of these historically Black colleges?
Yes, it is, and it's even cooler that I'm one of the players that's actually going. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually know somebody that's going to Grambling State from Alamany, the running back.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to Grambling. I believe that's the only one I know. Like in my recruiting class, going to the HBCU.
Yeah, man. So since you've committed to Jackson State, just what has it been like? What have the fans been saying to you? What are the, even the people out in California? Like, what's it been like since you told the world that you're going to go play for Coach Prime and the reigning Swac champions?
It's a bunch of people just texting me like, we can't wait till you get out here and welcome to HBCU community. Just a lot of HBCU type of people and like the Black community wishing me luck and hoping I do good, and they can't wait to see me play. And it's a good thing that I'm changing the culture opposed to going to like Alabama or USC or something like that.
Now, because that's super cool, because you had FBS offers, you had Power 5 offers. You could have went to, you talked about Louisville, USC, Oregon, these different places. What was it about Jackson State that made you stay the course, uncommitted, and deciding to go down the JSU over, some of those places people would consider better options?
I had a good relationship with the coach, and that's one of my biggest things I look forward to in going to any college, like having a relationship and becoming comfortable. Even when I was on FaceTime with Deion, I was comfortable, and the corner coach is also on FaceTime with us too. I just felt like I could be myself around them.
Awesome, man. Once again, we're talking to Tayvion Beasley, recent Jackson State signee, class of 2022. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. Now, Tayvion, I have to ask, man, you don't have to give me the details of your conversations with Coach Prime, but what was it like being on FaceTime with Deion Sanders, talking, letting them know you're going there to play cornerback for the greatest corner ever? Like, what was that like?
It was crazy. Like he would just ask me questions like, what can I bring to the table and why should they give me offer, things like that. But it was just crazy. Even people that was around me because I was on FaceTime with them at school. So like when I got off the phone, they was like, we was on the phone with Deion. Like they was all excited for me. But it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable.
Now, Travis, you mentioned Travis Hunter earlier. He kind of broke the internet when he decided to sign with Jackson State back in December. Do you remember that day? What was you doing? And what kind of were you thinking when you saw the number one player in the country decide to go to an HBCU?
It was crazy to me. I thought he was going to stay at Florida State because like a month before or something, he was talking about like he going to stay committed and all that, even though they're doing bad and stuff. Then when the date came, I seen it. I'm like, oh, wow. He really going to Jackson State. I think people feel like that was a downgrade because FSU is FSU and Jackson State is Jackson State. But I don't think people really know like the outside world would consider it a downgrade, but I wouldn't personally.
And it's not, man. It's not, because you're gonna. I mean, you see the comments coming in. You're gonna come in and play for these people that love you, man. Like these folks. You're gonna play in front of 60,000 people that look like you, that love you. That's gonna, they gonna get mad if you go out there and give up 2 touchdowns. They're gonna be mad now. It's still football. They're still fans. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be with love, man. It's not gonna be these personal attacks we've seen happen to great football players at some of these PWIs. Like when we saw what happened with Justin Fields in Georgia, we've seen what happened to players all across the country from everywhere. But just know, down in Mississippi, they play some good football though. Like they got some ballers down there, and it's gonna be great competition. Talk to me about that competition though. Coach Prime has got a national recruiting base. And I mean, you're going to go down to a defensive backfield, like you said, that's got the number 1 player, that's got some guys returning, that he's bringing in even more dogs. What's that going to be like for you going down there playing with a bunch of really good players for a really good team?
I feel like it's going to be the same when I was a sophomore at Bosco, going against Chris Huston. Coming into Jackson State, I'm going to be a freshman, obviously, and going against bigger guys, faster guys, stronger guys. So it's going to make me better as a person on the field. And also it could gain the connection and make me a better person off the field.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Outside of football, what are some of the things that Tayvion likes to do? What's some things you do that you have some hobbies? What are some of those things?
Play the game with my friends. Have family time.
Which one are you, 2K or a Madden guy?
I play both. It depends. Like it get boring after a while. So
Are you any good though? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, man. Okay. Outside of football though, in video games, what do you plan on studying when you get down to Jackson State?
Business.
Okay. What do you want to do with that? What are your plans, the reasoning behind choosing that major?
If football don't work out, I want to do real estate and take it from there.
Awesome, man. Hey, that's not a bad plan right there. That is not a bad plan. Once again, we're talking to Tayvion Beasley out of Bosco High School in Southern California. He's going to play for Jackson State, Coach Prime, and the JSU Tigers, man. So, Tayvion, did you watch much of Jackson State last year? And if you did, what are your thoughts on the team and what you saw on the field last year?
Yeah, I watched most of the games. I watched some of the games from the beginning and at the end to see how much they evolved as a team. Because that's how we was at Bosco. At the beginning, we was like how a normal team was. Towards the end, we got it together. I feel like even though Jackson State really didn't lose that much, towards the end, they got better as a team. Like they had a better connection. You could see the better connection on the field with Shador throwing to his receivers, the secondary communicating, things like that.
Now, have you talked to many of the players in this 22 recruiting class? If so, what are some of you guys' plans, when you touch down on campus?
No, I haven't talked to people in my recruiting class, but again, I talked to Herman, Shador Sanders actually, and John Huggins, the safety.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Tayvion Beasley. Now, Tayvion, I'm just thinking JSU, man, you guys coming off a Swac championship. You won the Swac East. But the rest of the SWAC's loading up. You see, like you said, one of the guys on Grambling, they brought in 38 dudes. They're looking to come and take that SWAC title. Alabama A&M brought in 38 dudes, 38, 39 dudes. They're coming to take that SWAC title. It's what's your plans, when you touch down in the SIP, and what are your goals for your freshman year?
To win the SWAC championship. And then another goal would be obviously to get playing time. Get better as a corner, specifically my position. Get better as a person off the field, in the classroom, and mature more.
Hey, absolutely, absolutely. Now, Tayvion, what has the coaching staff kind of told you how they plan on using you? What do they see you ideally? Do they see you more as an outside corner, slots, somewhere in the defensive back as far as secondary, as far as safeties or anything? How do they plan on using you?
As a corner and a nickel, inside and out.
Now, nickel's tough.
Sophomore year, I played nickel.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be new to it. I would know how to play and maneuver, come up, make the tackles. And then corner is obviously the position I play, so I could play both.
Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer playing like on the inside as a nickel or more outside guy?
It depends what type of team you playing.
Okay.
Like to get more action wise, nickel.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, that makes sense. Now, also, Tayvion, what? Dang, it was like I lost my train of thought. I was about to ask you something that's like totally slipped my mind. But uh, thinking of Jackson State, you guys got like a huge target on your back coming into the SWAC. Is that something that you're used to playing at Bosco? And how do you look at that? Do you rather be like the top dog that everybody's gunning for, or like the underdog that is trying to take that top spot? Which one do you prefer?
I'd rather be the top dog everybody gunning for. Because like at Bosco, it was fun being a top dog, and then like it will create more animosity between us and the other team. For instance, at Servite, how we lost to Servite, there was the underdog who was the top dog. It created more animosity, so it made like the environment of the fans, us players, it made it like better and made us play better. To me personally, that's how I felt.
Yeah, it's always because when you're the top dog, that means you got something everybody want, and I'd rather have something that everybody want than trying to chase somebody to get what I want, right? Like, so I agree with you. I'd rather be the top dog, bro. Like personally, I'm right there with you. Now, when it comes to JSU and the Cali connection or HBCUs in California, are you seeing a growing interest from players out there in California trying to see what some of that HBCU life? I mean, is that something that you're seeing?
Yes. Actually, the day of the signing day, it was a lot of people at Bosco was talking about HBCUs. Then on social media, we obviously see it a lot. So I feel like more people are more interested into HBCUs opposed to going to like a USC or Alabama or Oregon or anything like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Tayvion Beasley, signee on the class 2022 with Jackson State, the JSU Tigers. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Now, Tayvion, I want to ask you, man, just when it comes to going to a place like Jackson State, coming from a Bosco, or just let me ask you this: you've been on visits to different schools. Have you been able to travel to Jackson State yet, by chance?
No.
Oh, you haven't. So what's that like, man? How strong of a connection that you have to have with the coach or the coaching staff to decide to go across country and play for a school and play for a team or coaches that you haven't even been to their campus yet? You haven't even seen the school. What's that like, man?
I honestly feel like you just gotta show them that you're interested into their school, stay in contact with not just only your position coach, multiple coaches, and also like talk to the players, see how it is, see what environment they live in, like things like that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I want to ask you about your high school days again. What would you say? What was your best game in high school? What was some of the plays that you made, or what's a game that stands out? What year was it? What were you able to do, and what was the final outcome?
I always had a good game against Servite, but I don't consider that my best game. I feel like I was a sophomore, was playing against Calabasas with Jermaine Burden at Alabama now, and
yeah, the guy that transferred from Georgia. Yeah,
Johnny Wilson and all them, and I was the one guarding Jermaine Burden, and he had
man.
like they threw it his way when I was on him like 3-4 times. I believe he caught none of them.
Oh man, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good game. So you played against some really, really good players, man. You're battle tested. You're talking about these dudes that that go to Alabama, Oregon, UW, from the South to the West Coast. How is that going to help you when you get down to Jackson State?
I feel like the way I play people, I feel like again Chris Hudson. The way I think, like if I could guard Chris Hudson, I can guard you. Like I feel like it's nobody I can't guard. Because to me, like as a wideout, you obviously like you're gonna be fast, you're gonna be able to catch, run route. But I feel like I'm the better person.
Now, how would you describe your style of play? Are you more of a physical corner, man-to-man, zone corner, finesse? Like what kind of DB are you?
I say finesse.
Finesse,
and
okay.
I could get physical if I wanted to. My arm's not that long, so I don't like to get extra physical. And with the PIs and stuff, I don't want to have a lot of pass interference. But I feel like I'm a good finesser when I at corner. I know how to bait the quarterback good. So
Now, you know what they say about corners, man. They say you guys don't like to tackle. Are you someone that's going to be able to get in there and get your nose in and tackle? Like, what are they getting when you come down to JSU, man? You said finesse. I know it might have got some of the people in the comments a little worried that you don't want to tackle. What's that like?
Yeah, I'm good. I actually got better at tackling because sophomore year I missed a few, but this year I missed one tackle on my whole senior season. I will play. I will base my game off like a Tyrann Mathieu, but when he was at LSU.
Okay.
That's how I feel like I would be.
Hey, Tyrann Mathieu was a dog at LSU, man. That's a hell of a comparison. You get a lot of people excited saying you go play like Tyrann Mathieu, and you know Tyrann Mathieu, he's a friend of JSU. He was at the camp last year, so you might even get a chance to run into him, the Honey Badger.
I hope so.
All right, Tayvion, man, I'm not gonna hold you too much longer, man. I got a couple more questions. Like you talked about your game, you talked about all the things, some of the things that you like. Just what is Jackson State gonna get from Tayvion Beasley? What's it gonna? I mean, what are you gonna be? What kind of player? What kind of man? Kind of person are you gonna be when you get down to 1400 Lynch Street?
I feel like they're gonna get a focused cornerback that can do it all. Like again, a honey badger like Tyrann Mathieu.
Hey, they definitely like to hear that, man. They definitely like to hear that. I do want to ask you this, man. You're coming from Southern California. You're going to Mississippi to go to school to play ball, to play for Coach Prime. Do you think you're gonna get homesick, man? That's a long way away. Pops ain't gonna be able to make every game down in Mississippi and you know Alabama and things like that. So what's that dynamic gonna be like for you?
I feel like I'll be homesick for like 2 weeks. And once I get around, I get used to it after a while.
Now it also snows in the South sometimes, man. You got any winter clothes? Have you ever seen snow before? Like what you think that's gonna be like?
A lot of jackets, warm clothes, sweats.
Because I remember just speaking of Pierce, man, I saw Pierce and some of those Cali guys. It like snowstormed in Louisville that day, so like they got to go out in the snow and stuff. Like you think you're gonna be ready for some cold weather?
I'll be good for that. Besides, if I don't get when you burn with like the snow get too cold. I forgot what it was called, but
frostbite. You don't get frostbite. I don't think it's good.
When my brother went to Southern Utah, I had got one in my hand.
Oh wow. Yeah. That skin is gonna get and also the heat is different in the South too. You know, the cold is there, but it ain't that cool Southern California breeze. Like it can be 80 in Southern California, and it just feels like when it's 80, 90 degrees in the South. It's a lot different, man. I want to prepare you for that too, man. That heat is totally different. That's why, it's a lot different, man. But I'll leave you. I'll get you out of here on this, Tayvion, man. Just if you have a message to the JSU fan base, you have a message to Jackson State, just give it to them in a few words, just like what Tayvion Beasley is, and how do you plan on what you plan on doing when you get there for the next 3 to 4, possibly 5 years at Jackson State.
I plan on making it better, making the locker room better, getting more players down there from California, making HBCUs better, getting better academically, getting new friends, and I'm ready to be a Tiger.
Absolutely, man. Once again, this is Tayvion Beasley, class of 2022. He's headed to Jackson State. Thank you so much, Tayvion, man. Thank you all for joining us today. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button before you get out of here, and we will see you guys next